You didn't burn out because you were weak. You burned out because you were always available, always reachable, always helpful, always the person who replied fast, the person who fixed things, the person who showed up even when you didn't want to. And at first, it looked like love. It looked like purpose. It looked like being needed. But slowly, without you noticing, it became a trap. Because the more you gave, the more people expected. And the more they expected, the less you belonged to yourself. One day you wake up and the first thing you do is check your phone. Not because you're excited, but because you're afraid. Afraid of what you might have missed. A message from a friend, a request from work, a family problem, someone needing something. And before you even drink water, before you even breathe, you respond. You tell yourself it's fine. You tell yourself it's not a big deal. You tell yourself they need me. But deep down, something feels heavy, not dramatic, not loud, just constant, a quiet pressure that never leaves your chest. You go through the day with a smile that looks normal. You laugh at the right moments, you answer politely, you keep showing up. But inside, you feel like a room with too many doors open, no silence, no privacy, no space to hear your own thoughts. People call you reliable, they call you kind. They say, "I don't know what I'd do without you." And you should feel proud, but instead you feel tired. Not tired like you need sleep, tired like you need a life. And slowly you begin to notice something. When you don't reply fast, you feel guilty. When you say no, your stomach tightens. When you take time for yourself, you feel selfish. So you keep saying yes. Yes to extra tasks, yes to late night calls, yes to emotional conversations you don't have energy for, yes to helping people who never help you back. And each yes feels small, harmless, but together they build a cage made of kindness. And the hardest cages to escape are the ones you built to be loved. One evening you finally sit down, you tell yourself you'll rest, just one quiet hour, no noise, no requests. You sit on the couch. The room is warm, the light is soft, your body sinks into the cushion like it's begging to be held. And then your phone vibrates, a message appears. "Hey, are you free right now?" You stare at it, and your mind already starts moving. You begin preparing the response. You begin shaping your time around their need. And you haven't even said yes yet, but your peace is already gone. Your fingers type the answer you've typed 1,000 times. Sure, you always do. And something inside you breaks a little. Not loudly, not in a dramatic way, just a quiet crack, like a glass that's been filled too many times. Days pass like this. You help, you answer, you show up, and little by little you begin to disappear. Not physically, people still see you, but the version of you that once felt alive, the version that had dreams, that had energy, that had a voice. That version becomes quieter and quieter until one day something happens. It's small, almost nothing. Someone asks you for something again, and you say yes again. But this time, your body doesn't follow. Your chest feels tight, your breath becomes shallow, your head feels heavy, your hands tremble slightly, like they've been holding too much for too long. You walk into the bathroom, you look at your reflection, and you don't recognize the person staring back. Your eyes are tired, not sleepy, tired in a deeper way, like someone who has been running without knowing where they were going. You turn on the sink, you splash water on your face, and you whisper something you've never allowed yourself to say before. "I can't do this anymore." You don't say it with anger, you don't say it with hatred, you say it with truth. And for the first time in a long time, that truth feels like air. That night you lie in bed. The room is quiet, but your mind is loud. You replay every time you said yes, every time you sacrificed your own needs, every time you stayed available because you were afraid of being disliked. And suddenly, you see the pattern. You weren't helping people because you had endless love. You were helping people because you were afraid. Afraid that if you stopped, you would lose your value. Afraid that if you didn't respond, you would be forgotten. Afraid that if you didn't fix everything, no one would choose you. So you stayed available, not because you were strong, but because you didn't know how to protect yourself. And that realization hurts because you remember how many times you needed someone and no one came, how many times you were exhausted and still showed up, how many times you wanted to rest but felt guilty even thinking about it. And quietly you realize something. Your kindness has been real, but your boundaries were missing. And without boundaries, kindness becomes self-destruction. The next morning you wake up differently, not with motivation, not with a new personality, just with one small decision. Today, you will not abandon yourself. The phone lights up again. Another message. Can you help me with something real quick? Your fingers hover over the screen and you feel the old reflex rising, the old fear, the old guilt. But you breathe slowly and you type something new. Not right now. I need time today. Your heart pounds, not because the message is dangerous, but because you're doing something unfamiliar. You're choosing yourself. You press send, and for a moment, the world doesn't end. No thunder, no punishment, just silence. Then the response comes. Oh, okay. That's it. And you realize something that changes everything. Most people won't hate you for setting boundaries, but the ones who do were never loving you, they were using your availability. And that truth is hard, but it's also freeing. As the days go on, you practice it again. You say no without explaining. You say no without apologizing. You say no without writing a paragraph to prove you're still a good person. You begin to protect your mornings, your evenings, your mind. You stop answering immediately. You stop being on call for everyone's emotions, and something strange happens. You start hearing your own thoughts again. You notice the way sunlight enters the room. You notice the taste of your coffee. You notice the feeling of walking outside without rushing. You begin to feel present, not because life became easier, but because you stopped giving your peace away for free. You still help people, but now you choose when. You still care, but now you care for yourself too. And that balance feels unfamiliar at first because you were trained to believe that being a good person meant being available. But you learn something deeper. Being good does not mean being empty. Being kind does not mean being used. Love does not require self-abandonment. One evening you sit alone somewhere quiet, a park bench, a small room, a place with enough space to breathe. The air feels warm, the world moves softly around you, and for the first time in a long time, you feel something you forgot existed: relief. Not the relief of finishing a task, not the relief of pleasing someone, the relief of returning to yourself. You realize that you were never meant to be everyone's solution. You were meant to be your own life. And you understand the lesson that so many people learn too late. If you are available to everyone, you will be absent from yourself. So you begin again, not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. You protect your time, you protect your energy, you protect your peace. Because now you know you don't owe your life to anyone who only shows up when they need something. You owe your life to you. And the day you stop being available to everyone is the day you finally become available to your own future. If this story touched you, take a moment to breathe and remember this. You can be kind without being consumed. You can love without losing yourself. And you can protect your peace without feeling guilty. If this story helped you breathe again, watch Comfort Felt Like Peace, but it wasn't. And if you've been waiting for the right time, he waited too long, then life moved on, might be the one you need next.